Hello, Internet, and welcome to another episode of Seriously Beyond. It's the kind of podcast episode where me and a couple of my friends just sit around and talk about weird bullshit. Things that we find interesting, and I wouldn't necessarily call it all bullshit, but some of it might be to you and to some of us, but it's a lot of fun, and I like doing it. This week we are going to be talking about Krampus. We've done a little bit of research on him, and we're going to just do a little bit of talking about him. I'm going to go ahead and run the intro, and then we'll introduce ourselves. The first thing I want to say is a very Merry Christmas to both of you and to the listening audience. Even though we don't have any audio platforms at the moment, we might at a later date. So just might as well throw them in there for a minute. So if anybody's been here before, my name is Ike. I am with the podcast Seriously Cast with Scott every Saturday. But once a month, I get to do some fun stuff with my friends. I'm going to start with you, Nick. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Nick, and with this podcast, like Ike was saying, sometimes we do some weird stuff, which I like that stuff. And this episode's going to be kind of cool, so we got some stuff about Krampus, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of the origin story for the whole season, and I think that'll be kind of cool.
Teresa?
Hey, I'm Teresa. I'm here with the podcast. Been doing this for a while now as a kind of a third person here. So today, I love the idea of Krampus. We're going to I'm going to talk about pretty much how they celebrate in other countries and just kind of like the whole idea of the festivities around it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's, I guess I'll just jump right into this. So, I'm going to start with Nick, actually. I'm going to let Nick, what do you, from your knowledge, I know you didn't do a lot of research for this episode because you were busy. I wanted to hear from a person that didn't, I wanted to hear from a person that didn't do any of the research, just kind of off the top of your head. What do you know about Krampus?
So what I know about Krampus is that it originates in northern Germanic peoples. Essentially, he is like the demon that assists Sinterklaas in making sure the good little boys and girls are good little boys and girls and not naughty. Because if they're naughty, he'll come and he'll stuff them in his bag, take them back to his cave, and eat them.
I don't know why, but for some reason I wish that this would have been the lore that my parents used when I was a kid. Because
to keep you from screwing up.
Yeah. So like when I was younger, I know for a fact that now after the fact, my dad would go outside my window with like a thing of bells and jingle them. But if Krampus walks around with chains and bells, and so like he could have gone out there with the chains and bells and like shook them outside the window and scare the fuck out of us.
Start tapping on the window,
yeah, exactly.
And scratching.
Let's start with a little bit of history. So, Teresa, what do you know about the history of Krampus?
I know it started around the 17th or 18th century, what I've been told. And it's from Europe, England, Europe, I don't know, maybe Germany. Anyway, it's from Europe. It's not from the United States for sure. But it started pretty early on. Pretty much it was the anti-Saint Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, he was supposed to part devil, part goat, and would go after children, especially bad ones on the certain time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he would beat them, drown them, or whatever he pretty much wanted to do, whip them a lot. What I've been told. But he would also, take the children in a sack and take them back to the underworld with him. And I don't know whether they returned or not. There's been no stories about them returning ever.
Yeah, everything that I've read about Krampus, they'll either leave a switch for the bad children along with, so it would be Saint Nicholas. You would follow around his pal Saint Nicholas. They were pretty much pals, And so Saint Nicholas would come and leave candy for the good kids, and then leave a switch for the bad kids. And then in some of the Germanic traditions or Austrian traditions, it would be the Krampus would steal the children away. It would either be a whipped child or a child being stolen away and essentially taken to hell. In fact, there is some ties to, I think, the Norse tradition, and
Yes.
Krampus himself was related to the Norse god Hel, Hel. I think it's Heel or Hel. I don't know exactly.
Hell.
Yeah. So he'd be I think, was it Norse god or a Norse demon? Because the Norse all the Norse deities considered gods, or did they have demons in Norse culture?
They're basically gods. You have minor gods because you have a couple of different pantheons within the Norse religion. You have the Aesir and the Vanir. The Aesir are like the high gods. The Vanir are like the less than you can consider them kind of like demigods, but they're still gods. And then you have things like your immortal heroes, and then you have the elves and the trolls and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But Hel or Hela, she was the ruler of Hell, because it's the name place is basically Niflheim is Hell. It's the same thing, and actually the Christian version of Hell comes from the Nordic version of Hell.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So
we'll just share on that one.
So that's just a basic history of the entity referred to as Krampus. Now, the celebration of Krampus is something a little bit different. So what was it? They have Krampusnacht, which is the 5th of December. So it stands for Krampus Night. Which the reason that's the 5th of December is because the 6th of December is the feast of Saint Nicholas. And St. Nicholas and Krampus were buddies since they ran together. And so the night before the feast of St. Nicholas, that's when that's what traditionally in Austrian lore, Krampus would come through and or St. Nicholas would come through, either leave presents or steal the bad children. And so, let's see here. I've got a few things that are really interesting, and I didn't have some of them highlighted here. So they have let's just go to where was that one at? There it is. Okay, so we have the Krampus Lout, which is i.e. the Krampus Run. And so a bunch of drunk men would run around dressed as Krampus, and they'd carry sticks around and hit people with them and scare scare children and whatnot. From what I've read, there isn't any specific date for any Krampus Lout, and so they would just run around and just cause mischief and mayhem. The other thing that I found about the history of Krampus was Krampus is derived from the German word for claw, and so
yes.
So the Krampus would probably be a clawed creature, and in a lot of the pictures that I've seen and some of the folklore, Krampus would have one hooved foot and one normal human foot. So he'd have two different feet. So if you walk through the snow, you'd see a hoof print and then a footprint, going through the snow.
I don't know. That sounds like a really good time though. The Krampus Lout. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, they had
run around drunk and smack the shit out of people.
They have a Krampusnacht or a Krampus Lout celebration in DC, and I think in the slideshow that I have, I found a picture from it where it's got a Krampus wearing a mask, and it's telling people they have to wear their face mask. They have to wear their face mask to join the Krampus Lout.
Well, they're doing the thing in Austria where they have the whole parade going on.
Mm-hmm.
So when anybody gets in their way and they get a switch on them, they literally are beating them up. Pretty much get out of the way. So that's awesome.
Good.
Like a running of the bulls, but a demon.
The other cool thing for history-wise, so back in the 1890s, Austria and Germany started their mail service. and they started doing postcards. And so one of the things that made Krampus a little bit more popular in Germany and in Austria was that people would sell Krampus postcards. And so they'd be like normally like a Krampus creature with a distressed child. And so you can send a Krampus card to somebody around Christmas. The other thing
awesome.
is there's also another side to that where they would also send pictures of Krampus like what's the word? Courting or trying to court pretty ladies. And so like so it's like two sides to a coin here. And so like they would have kind of naughty pictures of the Krampus being in precarious situations with women of loose morals.
Of course they would.
But
But as far as I know, I don't see a whole lot of celebration from America on this or South America on this at all.
There's a
Krampus. Canada,
there's a Krampus celebration in Florida.
Now, I would understand there not being like a huge celebration of it in South America. South America is vastly based on Latin cultures. It's like, specifically Spain. And I'm imagining
you found one now.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that the Catholic Church, when they were settling down in South America and Middle America, they were like, no, we're not allowing any of this pagan shit.
So let me pull this up. This is from the clickorlando.com. Krampus Fest returns to Orlando's Milk District this weekend. Live music, Christmas vendors, food, and more offered at Sunday event. And so
hopefully they don't offer you any Krampus milk. I don't think that'd probably taste good.
I think the Milk District might be named after like Harvey Milk. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, so it looks like it's from 1 to 10 p.m. So it was only one day. It doesn't tell us like a specific date. Let's see what this RSVP site says. Eventbrite, view details. It looks like this was December 5th, so it was on Krampus. It was on Krampus Nacht this year.
Oh, wow. Now, how long have they been doing this in Florida? Because I haven't heard of anything like this.
Oh, there's also one in DC. Because I know
I'm surprised.
I know I saw it. Here, Krampus Nacht DC. And so here's the Krampus Nacht DC website. Do they have dates? December 7th. Saturday, December 7th. That's from 2019.
2019.
Yeah, they haven't done a Krampus Nacht in DC for a while. Those guys are locked down almost worse than New York was. But let's see what other Krampus celebrations they have here.
I thought I saw something about one in Oregon.
Well, they used to do a Krampus Nacht thing where you can go and get your picture taken with Krampus in Portland. What is his name from? What's his name? The guy that Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero always put it on. I think there's a California one too. Let's see, Krampus Los Angeles. Let's see here. Okay.
No 2021.
But the season screams in 2022, but they canceled it for 2021. Pasadena Convention Center. That makes sense because California's re-locked down.
Yeah, we're headed that way, unfortunately.
Well, they're putting it up to a vote for Oregon, so that they can. Oh, there it is. Krampus wants you to wear a mask. That's the one right there. If you guys can see it.
Yeah.
But Oregon, we're going to be going up for a vote for permanent mask mandates and potentially.
Yes, we are.
And potentially digital vaccination records. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Okay, do we want to talk about Krampus? Would you guys like me to talk about Krampus in what is it? In popular culture?
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so I've got a few things here. We're gonna start with the obvious. In 2015, there was a movie called Krampus that came out. It's
Yes.
I don't remember who's in it, but I'm going to mute
Well,
it.
obviously Krampus is in it. Duh.
Jeez, I'm going to mute it because there's a majorly popular song that will definitely get a strike for. So I'm going to skip through that. But this movie is about a kid who decides that his family is all a bunch of fucking jerks, and instead of giving his letter to Santa, he pretty much sacrifices it by ripping it up to Krampus, and then Krampus like freezes the entire neighborhood and then punishes everybody. And so then at the end of the movie, the kid, spoilers, just FYI, spoilers, end of the movie, everybody ends up dying. And the kid walks up to the Krampus. He's like, I take my wish back. I want my family back. I want it to be the perfect Christmas again. And then they all end up in purgatory.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't seen it, it's a good movie. Like, I really liked it. I watched it recently a couple weeks ago. Actually, I watched it on Krampusnacht.
Nice.
But it's it's got a great cast and the acting is really good. The storyline's okay. There's a really interesting like Jack in the Box like worm thing that swallows a child alive. But it was pretty good. Let's see here.
No movie is complete without a little bit of child death.
Let's see here. There was an episode of Scooby-Doo Mysteries with Krampus.
10-second nose rule.
Oh, that's gross.
So yeah, they've got Krampus here on the Scooby-Doo Mysteries. Hey, that's Patrick Warburton. And then there's an episode of Grimm that had Krampus in it.
Lurks a legendary beast, and you'd better watch
say?
out.
What was that?
I didn't hear anything.
You'll
I've never seen
probably
this show, so I don't know. I've never watched
Yeah, I
it.
haven't either.
because Santa
It was that was the one that's filmed in Portland.
Yeah, it was
right?
filmed in Portland.
We're dealing with one
That's what I thought.
the 2-hour Grim Fall finale next Friday on NBC.
There is
Now, for those of you music lovers, though, one of my favorite bands that I really love, Lacuna Coil, actually did something called Naughty Christmas for a song. And they
oh,
mentioned Krampus several times.
that's cool.
Very cool.
First time I ever heard of Lacuna Coil, it was I had just finished Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines on PC, and the credits song was one of their songs, and it was perfect the way that it ended. It was great. I highly recommend that game, by the way.
Hold on, I gotta look something up real quick.
Okay,
Um,
that's a good book and movie that
just
you're looking up.
just recently, on December 11th,
Yes.
Anne Rice died.
Oh, that sucks.
She's the author of Interview with the Vampire, Lestat, and all of the all of those other books that go in that series. Yeah, she just recently died on December 11th,
Man,
which really sucks.
that's really too bad because I liked her books. They're really good.
Yeah, she was a great prolific author, and she'll be missed. And although she hasn't really written anything that I can think of, like as of recently, but the stuff that she did write, pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
if you haven't seen Interview with a Vampire, great fucking movie.
Yeah, probably one of the best Tom Cruise movies, and that's saying a lot because he sucks.
Let's see.
He-
Sorry.
My friends and I were talking about Tom Cruise, about the reason why he sucks is that you can take him and put him in any movie and he's just a generic actor. And he's not good, but he's not awful, and so that's the reason why we think he sucks, because he's just too generic. He's like the Nickelback of actors.
I actually really liked him in Burn After Reading. He was pretty funny in that with John Malkovich.
He was in Burn After Reading? I
think-
thought that was... No, that was shit, what the hell is his name?
I think it was Burn
no,
After Reading. Yeah, it was Burn After Reading. No, it's not Tom Cruise.
Brad
I'm
Pitt,
thinking of
George
Brad
Clooney.
Pitt. I'm thinking of. You're right. You were saying Tom Cruise. I was
There you
thinking
go.
Brad Pitt. They were both in Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I loved
That
George
was my
Clooney
bad.
in that because
That was my bad.
I love George Clooney in that because when they're in the, this is going to be some spoilers for that movie, when they're in the park and he's looking around and he sees that gal that's from the gym. Who are you? Who do you work for?
I love the line in the movie where he's like I can't remember. I think John Malkovich says something about his bike and he calls it a Schwinn, and he's like, he thinks it's a Schwinn. but then he finds him in the closet and he shoots him in the head, and it's just his smile when he's sitting in the closet is just hilarious. But then his head explodes.
So we picked him up. He got a plane ticket to Venezuela. We picked him up at the airport. Why? Well, we figured you wanted to talk to him. No. Well, what do you want us to do? Send his fucking ass to Venezuela. I don't give a shit.
Okay. So
Fuck, that's a good movie.
back to Krampus real quick. There was an episode of oh shit, what's that TV show with the two ghost hunters or vampire hunters or whatever? They have the black car, and they're like the Winchester brothers. Supernatural. There was an episode of Supernatural that doesn't talk about Krampus because the two brothers think that the entity that they're going after is Krampus. But then some guy called them idiots and said that if you think Krampus is real, you're a moron, because Krampus isn't actually based on a real entity, and so it was a different entity that they were actually after. But I wanted to highlight this. I have not seen it. There's a movie called A Christmas Horror Story, but it features William Shatner.
Oh no.
And it's got a fight between Santa Claus and Krampus.
Merry Christmas.
I don't think I can take a horror movie seriously with William Shatner in it.
Time of year.
Tell me
I can't really take anything
I don't think I
seriously
can
with
either.
William Shatner in it.
Christmas is all about forgiveness and family and tradition.
Santa, lots of kids are depending on tonight going off without a hit.
But in Bailey Downs this Christmas, it's different.
Exactly 1 year ago, last Christmas Eve, the school was the scene of an unimaginable crime.
And you still want to go down there just for some stupid school assignment?
It gets through any door in the school.
This is Krampus, right?
What's a Krampus?
He's like an anti-Santa Claus. A demon who punishes the naughty. He whips them, chains them up, stuff like that.
It's a pretty killer Krampus, though.
It's the elves.
Yeah, I like that chain with the hook on the end of
He
it.
looks kind of like Azog, the Defiler from the Peter Jackson Hobbit.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
We're trapped down here, and there's a psychopath on the loose.
Wait, was that the kid from Game of Thrones?
That ain't your son.
Did you not see what he did?
The three-eyed raven.
Yeah!
Is truly
Hold on.
this holiday
I have to
season.
go back and see. Hold on. I gotta see if that was the kid that I thought it was. Is that him?
That looks like him.
I don't think
I'll
it's
That
him.
looks a lot like him.
Hold on. I'll have to look it up.
It's truly grim this holiday season.
What year is this done in?
2015.
Now. I do.
Okay, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna look this up on IMDb just real quick to see if that's him or not.
I can't remember what his name is. He's one of the Stark kids.
Yeah, I don't remember the actor's name, but I don't see him on here, so I don't think that's him. He'd be at the top of the list. Okay, before we go on to some Christmas history, I wanted to show a trailer for one of my favorite Christmas horror movies called Rare Exports: A Christmas Tale. It is a foreign film, so it's got subtitles. But like, I'm going to preface this with I'm going to spoil a major plot point. And so I'm apologizing to both of you. And if anybody wants to skip through this, I'm going to put a little thing bar at the bottom of the screen that'll indicate when we're done, so you can skip past this part if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and play part of this trailer, and then I'm going to spoil a major plot point.
It's the most magical time of the year, when traditions are honored and the youngest among us still believe in the spirit of the season.
We found something else than just plain rocks and dirt.
This mountain is like a giant ice box.
For storing what?
Drill deeper. Bear the dynamite. You have a grave to rob.
Minkälaiset sudet tekee? Hyvää joulua.
Isä! Vetti on viety!
We have Santa Claus. Selitä sille, että meillä on täällä pukki myytävä.
So what happens is they think that they caught Santa Claus in this live trap, and then they're trying to sell it back to the American guy at the beginning of the movie. They're trying to sell it to him, and the American guy shows up and he's like, "This isn't Santa Claus. This is one of his little helpers." And then more people that look like Santa Claus show up, and they're all naked. So they got these like fat, like middle-aged guys all naked with beards and running around. But then they get into this hangar at this airport that they're at, and they actually find Santa Claus. And this is what Santa Claus looks like. It's this giant thing in ice with giant horns coming out of it. And so the end of the movie, they end up blowing this thing up. And the guys, because they're hunters, they take the horns as their trophy, and then they have all of these. And since Santa Claus is dead, they have all of these like little men that are human size that look like Santa Claus, and they're malleable. They do what they're told. And so the reason it's called rare exports is they send all these people, these like beings that look like Santa Claus, to malls to be mall Santas.
Oh my god.
That's why it's called rare exports. The movie, like, just with this plot point alone, like halfway through the movie, you're like, what the holy fuck? This is crazy weird, but it's really cool. The only problem is I can't get a lot of people to watch it because it has the subtitles. But
I just looked it up real quick. It's from Finland.
Yep, and if anybody has a Hulu account, it's on Hulu. So if you want to watch it, go to Hulu or watch it some other way. I think you can rent it on Amazon or something. Although
now you were, I think we mentioned about this before. You were looking for a dubbed version.
Yeah, is there a dubbed version?
I'm asking you.
No, I've not been able to find a dubbed version. So the only thing you can get is because there is an American character in the movie, all of his lines are in English. The rest of them are consensus from Finland. The rest of them are Finnish. Which
should we do a fan dub?
We could, but the kid in the movie is just really annoying. like he's annoying almost to the point where you're like, I can't listen to his voice anymore. But that's all I got for Krampus in modern Hollywood or movies or TV show. Do we want to do a quick rundown of the history of Christmas or St. Nicholas?
Yeah, I got some information that I can talk about.
Okay, let's go there.
Okay. So Christmas, as it is known now, is supposed to be when Jesus Christ was born out in the desert of Bethlehem, and all these people came from all around to see this magnificent child born. However, the interesting thing about it is that most Christian scholars, they can all agree that it was more likely that Jesus would have been born more close to Easter, like around when they celebrate the death and rebirth, as opposed to in the winter. Now, the reason for this, and this is all because of Catholics. The Catholics, when they went everywhere around their little empire that they were starting, they were having a really hard time getting people to adopt their religion and their holidays. And so, for example, in Rome, when they were trying to make Catholicism the main religion there in Rome, one of the big things was they had a lot of pushback because Saturnalia was one of like the most popular holidays, and that happened in the wintertime. And so they started integrating Saturnalia celebrations into Christian traditions and converting small things here and there uh, in order to get these people to adopt it. Now, as they started spreading out even further north up into Germany and eventually into Norway and Denmark, and as they go west over into France and into, you know, they had a lot of power in like the British Islands and stuff. They ran into a lot of pagans that were very resistant to accepting this, especially if you get into northern Germany, where Yule, which is a celebration of uh, just family and tradition. You've got the decorating of a tree with like candles and little baubles, and you have the Yule log that you light, and you spend the time with your family around the Yule log. And it's feasting time when you try to eat all the food that you can't keep over the winter time because it's going to spoil, and you just put all your preserved food off to the side of the longhouse. And so they started incorporating things like Odin being the one who goes around and gives gifts to people. And Sinterklaas in Germany was the guy that would go around and he'd bring the toys and put them in shoes. And then you go to, you know, like or not Denmark, but can't think of the name of the place. Windmills everywhere. I have a brain fart all the time. Netherlands. You go to the Netherlands and they put their clogs out, and they would put, you know, candies and little toys in the clogs, and you'd leave a little bit of food for the reindeer or the horses in Netherlands. So when you look at a lot of the stuff that we do today for Christmas, it's actually from all of these different cultures from around the world. Well, especially specifically around what was the world for Catholicism at the time. And you'll find, as you look more and more into it, that things had changed slightly as they adopted new things from different cultures for the traditions of Catholicism. So, for example, I just put up my tree today, and I put a bunch of lights around it, and we're gonna get ready to put some ornaments and stuff on it. And we look at it as more or less a traditional Scandinavian thing because our family here is mostly Scandinavian. And we look at it less as a Christian holiday,
filthy
and more as
Scandos.
tradition. And so most of the things that people do have origins in what the Christians would call pagan holidays. So I just thought that was kind of a fun little rundown. And also just remember, Odin is Santa Claus.
Because he is like the Santa Claus that we have today is kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of different things. Because if you got like the Sinterklaas, you have Saint Nicholas, and again you also mentioned Odin because there was a lot of Norse mythology in the Santa Claus legend and everything.
Yep. Especially the like you'll see the one where he's got that the stick with the big circle on it and like a point on the top.
I thought I had a picture of it here.
His little staff, that's supposed
Yeah.
to be that's like supposed to represent Odin's spear, but they changed it a little bit here and there.
Oh, here we go. Here's one. Center class. This one has the stick on it and like the weird pope.
They just
the weird pointy pope hat.
Yeah, they changed his spear into more of a staff because they didn't want to associate like war and death with the holiday. They wanted it to be more of a happy time. But I don't see what's wrong with spears. I think spears are cool.
Which is kind of also why a lot of during like the 1930s, a lot of places tried to remove Krampus from holiday tradition. In fact, I've got a little thing here. 9 facts about Krampus. This is fact number 7. That's the wrong button. Krampus was once banned by fascists. Another reason to hate fascists.
Real fascists.
Real fascists. Let's see. Between 1934 and 1938, when Austria was under fascist rule, Krampus was seen as a symbol of variously sin, anti-Christian ideals, and socialist Democrats. The newspaper of the Austrian Catholic Union called for a Krampus boycott, and the government of Lienz, the capital of East Tyrol, forbade Krampus dances and further mandated that all aspiring St. Nicholases must be licensed by the city. They also,
do you know that the Nazi Germany also Nazis banned Krampus too?
Yep.
And anybody dressed up would be shot.
Just gonna say the National Socialist Party banned Krampus.
Yeah.
I hate everything about this. And I just found out I literally just bought this beer like less than 2 hours ago, and it expired on November 1st. And so it tastes really bad, so I'm going to dump it and take the can back to the 7-Eleven I got it from and be like, I don't normally do this, and I don't have a receipt, but this was bad.
That's lovely.
So it tastes really off. I've tried drinking some of it, but I can't.
No.
Plus, the guy.
It looks like you're the only one who's dressed up here for the Christmas.
Well, I've got my Darth Vader Christmas sweater on because Krampus would be in the Vader camp, and I've got my what is it? This is Christmas Chronicles Santa Claus coat on.
I would have worn my Chewbacca ugly Christmas sweater, but after wrestling around with a Christmas tree, I was a little bit too warm.
Did you say Chewbacca?
No, Chewbacca. Although a Chewbacca one would be pretty legit.
Oh my
ugly
God.
Hanukkah sweater. That'd be badass.
I wonder if that does exist. Hold on. We gotta end. I want to end with this because there's a Christmas song. Because there was a Christmas album called "Christmas in the Stars." This song is called "What Can You Get a Wookiee for Christmas When He Already Owns a Comb?"
Let me see. We have a scarf for Skywalker, right? Yes. And perfume for the princess? Yes. What about Han Solo?
Couldn't we get him earmuffs?
That leaves one big problem.
The Wookiee.
Couldn't we get him a comb?
We gave him a comb last year.
What can you get a Wookiee for Christmas when he already owns a comb? What can you get in a hurry for a furry kind of friend like that? Take home.
All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah, no kidding. That's awful.
It's so bad, but I love it.
So bad, it is bad.
It's like the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh God.
It's the worst piece of shit. Actually, hold on. Let me rephrase that. It was the worst piece of shit out of the Star Wars canon until Rian Johnson got involved.
Yeah.
But the Star Wars Holiday Special, it's pretty bad. Okay, well, We're at about 40 minutes now. Is there anything else we want to cover?
I think I've covered what I'd like to. I mean, it was just a quick snippet, but good enough.
I think we're good. And anything more than like 40 minutes, I don't think anybody will want to listen because we'll just probably be rambling and just spending like a lot more time searching things. So,
us go on tangents?
Oh,
Never.
that doesn't happen. Like we just listened to the Wookiee for Christmas song. Oh man.
Oh, boy.
Let's figure out what we want to talk about next month later at a later time. But for now, I'd like to wish everybody a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas, Happy Yule, Happy Saturnalia, whatever the fuck you celebrate.
Happy Hanukkah.
Hanukkah. What else is there? There's Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa, yeah.
There's what is it? Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah.
We'll have the feats of strength at some
solstice.
point. Solstice.
Yep.
Krampusnacht, which already happened. I think Hanukkah just ended like 2 weeks ago or something like that. But everybody, you need to make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and have a good night. You guys ready? I'm gonna push the button. Remember, you gotta stick around for a couple seconds.